All right. And we are live. Good morning, everybody. Today is Taste Life Nutrition Radio and podcast streaming live on kuhsdenver.com. I'm Nikki Burnett, functional nutritionist, and super excited for our guest today because we're going to dig in, have some fun conversations about stuff that I wish I knew more about. So, Pam Klein, thank you so much for being here. We're going to be talking amazing things about homeopathy. I'm super excited to have you on.
Oh, I am too. I love to talk about homeopathy, and it's great to be here with you, Nikki.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Okay, so let's start off the way we always start off. First things first, we start the show with gratitude. What are you grateful for today, Pam?
Well, here with you, and I'm here. So
Yep.
I want to say what comes to mind, maybe because we were talking about a few minutes ago, are my children, my sons.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Two?
Two,
Two?
two.
Amazing. And they are, one you said was in his 30s. How about the other one?
Well, they're both in their 30s. And
Okay.
we were saying how I was saying how I they are my teachers, and it's been um yeah, I'm very grateful for them. And it's a learn. I say a lot to other friends that parenting older children or adults is harder than when they were younger because you have to step back.
Ooh. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
you have to
you
step back.
let the control go.
Yes, 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 yes.
That's
So,
true. That's true.
yeah.
What am I grateful for today? You know what I think I'm grateful for. Actually, I know I'm grateful for is we have our niece who has come to hang out with us for the summer. So she's 20, and she's in school. She's at University of Arkansas, studying marketing. So she came here to hang
Oh,
out with us, enjoy Colorado, and intern with me. And I'm like, yeah,
oh,
so cool.
the two of you are going to really exchange, right? And
Yes,
help each other.
yes.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has been a lot of fun. We've just started really digging into some of the projects that I wanted to dig into, and she's just jumping in and giving me some really good advice. And it's just been really, really cool. And she's just awesome, right? I've taken her to a couple of my networking meetings, and she's just, I mean, I'm a little more of an introvert. She's definitely more of an extrovert. She's very much my husband's side of the family, right? But it's just been such a blessing and so much fun, and really just getting to know her as an adult. You know, we moved to Colorado from Texas when she was 7, 8, 9, maybe something like that. So it's been fun having her here and hanging out with us. So anyway, super
That's
grateful.
great. That's
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
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 Okay, so let's get started. Let's jump in. I think first things first, let's talk about a little bit of your story, you know, how you decided to go into homeopathy, and we'll take it from there.
Well, I always say that homeopathy has me. Not
Ah,
that
love it.
I have homeopathy. And I heard of homeopathy over 30 years ago. We were part of a La Leche League play group. La Leche League is a breastfeeding organization.
Mm.
And some of the moms were talking about homeopathy, and I've never heard about homeopathy before. And I've also never been comfortable with taking medication or putting
Mhm.
something into my body. And I was just so curious. And I did some reading. I took some classes locally. I live in the San Diego area. And then about 3 years after, I decided I really want to learn more. And I enrolled in a program that was at England. And, Nikki and I were talking about this a few minutes ago. And it's the School of Homeopathy. It's still around. I had a wonderful, wonderful foundation from it. And I just wanted to keep wanting to know more. And I decided I wanted to practice. I didn't at first think I was going to, and I've continued my learning over the years, doing another program and also taking webinars. And my thinking changed after doing the program or during doing the program. Was thinking in a very allopathic way, but
Mm,
using natural
yeah.
alternatives or substances.
Mhm.
But homeopathy is not allopathic medicine.
Mhm.
Homeopathy has its own philosophy and principles and way of thinking. So my thinking changed. And I also feel that that very much is how I look at life.
Mhm.
Too. So I continue to take different webinars, continue from different homeopaths all over the world, and to learn more, to deepen what I know, and still have the wow about it, and feel
Yeah.
there's a real need for homeopathy.
Yeah. I
Um,
totally agree. It's such a, I had said this to you and of course on the promo, but conceptually I understand homeopathy. I have used it a little bit in practice. But the thing is, which is so fascinating to me, as I was kind of talking through it during the promo, people get confused on what homeopathy is, what naturopathy is, right? There's a lot of people will just kind of smush them together, and they're obviously very different. And then I was started thinking about and talking about the way that I practice. And I obviously I look at the person, I want to understand their history, I want to understand everything that I can about them. But with homeopathy, and I'm gonna let you take this because you'll say it better than I will. But with homeopathy, we do that. You do the same thing, but you're not you're less looking at the struggle, the symptom, the whatever, and you're more looking at the person and who they are and what they are and all about that person and giving the remedy based on that, correct? Which is so cool.
well, actually, both. It's
Okay.
using both.
Yeah.
I mean, because the symptoms are really an expression of the vital force of the person that something's not right. So we, as homeopaths, we use the symptoms as guides to lead towards what homeopathic remedy is similar to the person. Now, homeopathy, the word means similar suffering. So it's really finding out how the person's experiencing what is bothering them. And the way they express it is very, very important. Symptoms are one way that they express it, and then in how they say it verbally or not verbally. Babies, animals do very well with homeopathy, but they show it through behavior.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like, well, what is the picture of this person that they're expressing that something is not right, let's say, or imbalanced, and then under kind of seeing that because it kind of a totality emerges, and then matching that with a homeopathic remedy that is similar. So it's a very, I would say, it's a very simple and elegant form of medicine, and there's a lot of information. There's a lot of information about the patient, the person themselves, and then also there are a lot of homeopathic remedies. There are over 4,000 of them, and just the information.
Yeah.
So I always say what it's so important is to get to see this individual and start with that. Where is this person? What are they experiencing it? How do they experience it? What makes a symptom, a physical symptom, better or worse? What's their emotional state? How do they react to something? I ask about dreams. I ask about fears, what past medical history and all. And then the patient really guides me. I'm following them. I write down everything that they say. As I mentioned before, how they say something is very important. Their expression, the words that they use,
Mhm.
gestures that they make. And it's really for me to see, well, who is this person, what they're experiencing, and then giving that same similar picture that's in of a homeopathic remedy. And yes, people do confuse it. They know the word, but they really don't know what
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is, I
yeah,
have
yeah.
to say.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny. So help me understand, because you said, homeopathy is similar suffering, right? Is that what you said? Similar suffering?
That's what the word means, yes.
It's so cool. Um, Explain to me how it works where you give similar to help the body to promote health.
Yeah. Um, First of all, I just want to put in really briefly, it was Samuel Hahnemann, a German physician in the late 1700s who developed homeopathy. Um, the idea is that the remedies, which are the way that they're prepared, they're different potencies or strengths. And
Mhm.
at a certain potency, there's nothing left of the material substance. It's the energetic pattern of it. And the thought is that we all may be experiencing, because homeopathy is an energetic form of medicine, we are kind of our frequency. And
Mhm.
sort of we get stuck in the and how we're trying to heal ourselves, how the
Mhm.
vital force is trying to heal. And that's where the symptoms come, and that's why we use them as guides. And by
Mhm.
giving the similar but in a slightly different frequency, where the vital force is like, hey, this is similar, but not what I'm doing. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to counter this. And I
Mhm.
know the science sounds really weird, but it's a way, it's the same, but again, it's similar. It's not
Mhm.
the exact thing. So
Mhm.
by it being slightly different, it's kind of the vital force, our life force, is responds to it and pushes us through. And I'm always saying that homeopathy, the remedy, assists our bodies, our vital force in healing. We do the healing.
Mhm.
We have a
Mhm. Yeah.
wonderful ability to heal. So that's, the science sounds really weird in a way, I think. I don't know, it's not what we're used to. And I think that's how it works. And then a lot of times when I work with patients is that I have them they might take 1, 2 doses of the remedy, then take it again. And I have them increase the potency just a little bit. So what they're doing is they're getting that frequency slightly different.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that might be a different way of thinking.
Well, it is. I mean, it's a good way of thinking. I think that what comes up for me, and what I would assume would come up for other people who have less knowledge on homeopathy is, for one, um, it is backed by science, right? There's really good data on it. And so to kind of piggyback on that in sort of a extended comment question, however you want to frame that, is it sounds woo-woo, right? We're talking energy and we're talking frequencies, and sometimes it's one of those things that's hard to grasp, right? You like, I don't get it, or how can that be real? For one, I mean, we are all energy, right? And we all work on frequencies. And so that's a big piece of it. But how do you talk to people? How do you explain it? How do you say it when they're like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it.
Well, I don't know if I really do, I want to say.
Yeah.
But what came to mind is that I have a patient, a recent patient who, because everybody is on, it's sort of, because we're all individuals and we all experience what's bothering them and some people are very much on a physical level. I have this symptom, it bothers me physically. My When I do my blood test, this is the number. And
Mhm.
then other people might be very talking very emotionally, or they might even come up with images. So we each have what do I want to say, we may be coming from a different, not different place, but the way we express it.
Mhm.
And my job, I always say, I meet the patient where they are.
Yeah,
So
sure.
this one patient, he's an elderly man, and this is what I have, very factual,
Mhm.
and there's a little bit more, there's some pathology, there's changes in the physical body that there's a
Mhm.
concern for. So by hearing where the patient's symptoms are, that helps the homeopath decide what potency of the
Mm.
remedy to give. Now, I explained that at a certain level that becomes energy. It's more of an energetic.
Mhm.
But there's also potencies that we use that are still have the physical substance of the remedy, of what it's made from. So I don't know if this is answering you because it's always tailored to the individual.
Yeah.
And for this man, I'm thinking, yes, we're going to do much lower potency because there's a very, very physical complaints that he's
Mhm.
experiencing. And
Mhm.
also, he has a strong vital force, but he's older too. So again, what we're always addressing the individual, and I don't think I'm answering your question. So I don't quite know how to say that. And with patients, I don't often explain it the way I did initially about the
Mhm.
energy. I think what really any patient is concerned about is, are you going to help me so that I feel better?
Yeah, sure.
I
Of
mean, that's
course.
really what it comes
Mhm.
down to.
Mhm.
What I do stress is that we have a wonderful ability to heal, and
Mhm.
that's what the homeopathic remedy is helping with,
Yeah.
and that's what I stress. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I don't know if I know quite how to ask it, or if you're going to know how to answer it. I assume you will, but it's more about how they're made, right? So the thing that I think of, so I think of arnica, right? It's sort of the one that everybody knows, arnica. It's for pain. So how does it work that if it's for pain and it's similar but a little bit different, but it's not really there and it's there energetically, how does it help with pain, right? Well, and it's not how does it help with pain. My question more is how is it made?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to just backtrack. Arnica is not just for pain. It's a
Okay.
type of pain.
Okay.
It's a very bruising, sore pain. The person often feels like they've been beaten in a way.
Mm,
They will say, I'm fine, even though they're not. They don't want to be touched. So it's not just because a lot of times
amazing.
you hear people
Yeah.
say, I've pain, because if I go to the repertory of the homeopathic repertory, which has a list like the symptoms and then a list of remedies, there are so many remedies listed under pain. Well, what's the pain like? And how did it
Hmm.
happen?
Hmm.
So it's not just for pain, it's what a particular type of pain. And people do use it after they have had dental work, because I don't know if I've had dental work and I feel so sore
Yeah.
and I use arnica. And
Okay.
then I know of a woman who woke up, and her arm was so sore she couldn't move it. She couldn't even put her bra on. And
Mm.
she had had a dream a couple of nights before where she felt really threatened that somebody was going to hurt her. And somebody said to her, well, why don't you get a massage? And then she said, no, I don't want to be touched.
Mm.
So I suggested arnica, and the pain started to go away.
Mm.
And she did a second dose and the pain went away. So it was like looking at what is this pain,
Yeah.
where she hadn't done anything physical,
Uh-huh.
but something had happened to her being. And she was feeling, maybe from the dream, feeling threatened. And so arnica has its own picture of pain. And I
Yeah.
want to say there are other remedies that
Yeah.
also have it too. Like hypericum has a radiating pain. It's a moving pain, and it's very much connected to nerves. So again, like I will ask, well, what is it? What's the pain like? And I know we're not used to that. Well, it just hurts, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want it to
Yeah.
go away. But
Uh-huh.
but the pains are different. Yeah. So the second question is like how they're prepared. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So Hahnemann came up with this. I mean, he was an absolute genius. Um, during the time when he was alive, mercury was used for so many different ailments, and the person would
Yes.
be
So
better,
bizarre.
and then they would die because they were poisoned. But he thought, no, there's something how there's something curative in the mercury. How
Uh-huh.
can we make it so it's gentle in its healing? And that's one of the principles that homeopathy is, that it's a gentle healing. So he
Hmm.
came up with, I don't know how he did this, although I think it may go back to the Greeks a little bit, by taking the mercury, and this is any substance, maybe grinding it, making it into a mother tincture, which is a liquid,
Hmm.
and then taking one part of that and mixing it with a 99 part water alcohol solution. Alcohol is a preservative. And then what he called succussing, which was shaking and then banging it against a Bible. And
Oh, wow.
and
Amazing.
and that created what was the 1C potency, C standing for centesimal, 100 parts.
Okay.
And then taking one part of that, mixing with 99 parts water alcohol, and doing that again, the succussion is a 2C. And at the 12C potency, there's nothing left of the physical substance. That's what I had mentioned to you
Uh-huh.
before. So he was looking how mercury, which mercurius is a homeopathic remedy, and he used very well, and people respond very well to it, but using it by making it more gentler by this dilution and succussion. And I don't know how I can say why it works. I'm sorry to
Okay.
say, but it
Wow.
works. It was able to be used.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why there are, as I said, there are over 4,000 homeopathic remedies, and some are made from what we consider poisons,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Mm-hmm.
are in a form or been prepared so that that physical substance, that poisonous substance is not there anymore. And I know again, this is sound like, whoa.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
So, so many questions. I don't want to forget them. Okay. So the first one, the succussing. Do you think they still bang it against the Bible?
Oh, I don't know. They might. They have a machine now. Good question. I have people do it. I
Uh-huh.
have them do it against their hand or
Okay.
against a book. So yeah, you could.
I just love the Bible part. I mean, I just think that's so
I
cool.
know, I know, I know, I know.
Okay. And so am I correct to say that any kind of reactions, symptoms from homeopathy are very, very minimal? Do you ever see anything that any type of reaction? I mean, I know that there can be healing crises and things like that. So what do you see when it comes to, and to be a little more clear too, in my world or even in conventional medicine, right? You can have issues with the drug. Some people have issues with supplements. So that's kind of where my question is coming from.
Are you asking about side effects in terms?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Sorry, I was not clear.
No, no, that's fine. I just wanted to know. I wouldn't say that there's side effects.
Hmm.
It also always goes down to the individual. For some people, because what you're doing is that resonancy, resonating with somebody. So for some people, yes, there could be a healing crisis or that older symptoms come up that had been suppressed, and that's a good sign.
Hmm.
But with that, often the person, yes, the older symptoms come up, but they're feeling good in themselves. So we sort of let's see what happens. Let the vital force kind of keep working and see what happens. Some people don't respond at all to the remedy. And so no, no, that wasn't a good fit.
Yeah.
And that happens. That happens.
Sure.
I wouldn't say, like I said, reactions. Sometimes there can be, and I haven't necessarily experienced this with a, well, I want to backtrack too. So, a side effect that there's a talk that you can antidote a remedy.
Hmm.
And I haven't done that. I haven't needed to do that. If somebody is having, I don't want to say an adverse reaction because I don't know if that's the case.
Hmm.
So I don't want to go down that path, but it's not the side effects that we say yet. People are sensitive, like you brought it up. So, and I
Hmm.
mean, people will tell me that, or they'll, and I keep that in mind. Um, there was something else I was going to say. I have had patients, more is not better,
Mm.
and there have been patients that years ago, someone had called me. She had some kind of a bite, and I suggested a remedy, and another homeopath had suggested a remedy. She called me back about 2 weeks later. She said, "I'm doing really well. The remedy you suggested helped a lot. Yet now I've been taking that other remedy," the other person said, "and I'm feeling awful." And I said, "Stop taking it."
Yeah.
She, there's what's called proving. That's when I get back to more is not better.
Yeah.
This is how homeopaths and Hahnemann came up with about remedies. They're proven. They do provings to find out how somebody responds to the remedy, what they would be good for, what health issues, what symptoms come up. And this is what makes up our materia medica, the picture of the remedy. So if you keep taking a remedy, you might start proving it, start producing or experiencing these symptoms. And somebody
Huh.
might look at that as a side effect or reaction.
Okay.
Yet they're taking too much of it. That's why there's what's called the minimal dose.
Mm.
Again, a small dose, not only in the way it's prepared in terms of the dilution and succussion, but also how often you take it. So it's not like, okay, your vial, just finish it. No, you take a couple of doses. Each person is individual of how we do it, and you see how you respond.
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know, sure if I'm answering it, because this is different than Western medicine. We're given what? Take it, sometimes there's no follow-up
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
how did you do with that? With
Hmm.
homeopathy, there's a follow-up.
I mean, I think that's the smart way of practicing, right? Let's make sure you're doing okay.
Exactly. How was this for you?
Yeah.
Like I've had people who come in with the same, this isn't really an example of it, but two people might be taking the same remedy, but the way their healing process is different.
Hmm.
So it's not like set in stone that this is how often you take the remedy. Again, it's always for the individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. So I have a question, and you might have answered it, but I want to ask it because I don't know if it's something that we can go deeper on. But there is there's a view of the body and a view of symptoms, right? And I think like in conventional medicine, we look at symptoms as a problem that we need to fix, as opposed to the way I look at it and the way you would look at it, but you still probably go deeper, but it's symptoms. Symptoms are the body talking to us, in my what I like to say, right? It's the body telling, it's giving us information. We just got to learn about how to deal with that. So what do you see as far as the way conventional medicine sees symptoms and the way that you look at symptoms?
Well, the way I look at them, homeopaths look at them, is that, as I mentioned, they're signs, they're guides
Hmm.
to help us to understand what the person's experiencing, and then to help us come to the homeopathic remedy that's similar. So we want to know the symptoms. We
Hmm.
don't want to suppress the symptoms.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
And
what drugs typically do. And
right,
even supplements can,
right,
right?
exactly.
Mhm.
Because sometimes I will ask if somebody might come in and is coming in for something, a health issue, and they're using Western medicine, and I will say, and they might be doing better from
Mhm.
it. Well, I will ask, well, how was it when you weren't using that? Because that's the true picture, and it's,
Mhm.
in a way.
Mhm.
Um, Although maybe not so, but I'm wanting to know because symptoms are often suppressed with Western medicine,
Right.
and then they might go off that medication, and then the symptoms come back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I don't know. They're used as guides. Symptoms are used as guides. They are the expression of the body, the immune system, the vital force that's saying, hey, something's off, and this is
Mhm.
how it's off. And symptoms are not just physical symptoms. They can be emotional, they can be mental, behavior, um,
Mhm.
anything. It's the way the body is expressing something's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my approach, or I mean, the way that I look at it, right? I'm like, it's so yes, using the symptoms as I'm asking because I want to understand how we kind of are the same, but then it's even how can I be better, right? I always want to know how I can be better. So this is why I'm kind of digging into how you do things and how you see things. So I use the show for my education.
Very cool. Very cool.
So I'm looking at, people will come to me with symptoms as they would to you, and I will tell them straight up, you have the symptom, the body's talking to you, but we don't go after the symptom. I want to understand the why behind it. So I want to dig. I want to, so for me, I'm going to run labs. I'm obviously going to do the intake. I'm going to understand history. And so I want to address root cause. So for me, I look at root cause. Is it infection? Is it, chemicals in the environment, chemicals in your home? Is it what you're putting on your skin? Is it heavy metals? Is it mycotoxins, right? So these are the things, or mental emotional trauma, right? From, that you haven't dealt with. So these are sort of those big underlying causes that push, symptoms or disease or however you want to look at it. And so those are the things then that I will go after. So I'm curious when it comes to homeopathy, how do you approach that piece of it? I'm assuming you're also looking at root cause, but how does that play in? Does my question make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, okay, good.
Yeah, because I do we do want to focus on the root cause and why, but not necessarily, I don't order tests, labs,
Sure. Yeah,
because I don't have that ability to, but I also don't work that way. But I will look
yeah,
at when
yeah.
somebody brings it in.
Hmm.
But as somebody is talking, I will say, well, when did that start, that
Hmm.
symptom? what was going on at that time? Do you remember what were you experiencing at that time? Even physical or emotional or mental or whatever. I'm sort of, in some ways, I'm getting a timeline. I'm kind of
Sure.
understanding, and I'm also asking about their parents' health and what is in their genetic
Yeah,
line, so to
sure.
speak.
Yeah,
And so the root cause, it's not that oh, that's it. Yet I can kind of see, yes, this is where this started. That, like, one man that I've seen recently is like has a chronic fatigue issue.
yeah.
And there's also a genetic syndrome he inherited. But are we talking back, like, when did this fatigue start? He mentioned that it was after he had taken these these drugs, and I think almost recreational drugs.
Mm.
And then he said that's when it started. And he didn't make that connection. But to me, that was a little bit of a connection. And it's
Yeah.
not like, oh, that explains everything. But it was the timeline of it and
Hmm.
an understanding of it. So
Hmm.
it's, again, it gets back to case taking is what homeopaths call about meeting with a patient. So
Okay.
you're taking their case.
Uh-huh.
So, what comes up, and yes, there could be a trauma. But it's not necessarily that we need to know what the trauma was exactly, but it's like how the person responded to it.
Hmm.
How, again, that's happened. And then I just lost it, that this symptom, how I feel started then in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question.
You
I'm
are.
still going to the root
Yeah.
cause. We're
Yeah.
not just doing the symptoms are an expression of the root
Yeah.
cause. And
Yeah.
then how somebody heals, it's very individual, and not only is the symptoms better, but then how they look at their life, how they look at themselves. There's sort of
Mhm.
a kind of an opening in a way. And I know that almost sounds like therapy. And I have had patients tell me, "Oh, this seems like therapy," and it's not. I say, I'm not." But what comes up in the case taking for some people is something that can be very emotional, can be very
Yeah.
sad, can be
Mhm.
very, fearful. And for some people, this is really, really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They've even told me that. And
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen as we're kind of unraveling, I say.
Yeah.
So the root cause, because I do feel it heals at the root cause, but not in the way I'm not looking at solely as like I'm getting labs done and things like that, if
Sure.
that makes sense.
Yo,
Yeah.
it totally makes sense. It
Yeah.
totally makes sense. And I love it. And what I think is so fun is how well it just makes me want to know everything. Like it's so useful, but it's also cool because there's such a great integration with um different types of therapies, if you want to call them therapies, right? So, the what I do goes so well with homeopathy, and I talk to people a lot about building their team. And I think it's a beautiful thing when people have their functional nutritionist and their homeopath and their chiropractor, and maybe they need a conventional medical doctor on board. And, it's all of us really play well together for the purpose of a single client or patient, right? Um, and I just think it's super fun. It's
Yeah.
really cool. It leads me into though, and you hit on it a little bit earlier, and so I'm curious about dreams because you ask people about their dreams. I don't think I've ever asked anybody to tell me about your dreams because I wouldn't know what to do with that.
I know. I know.
So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I know. It seems like what, yeah, I hear you about that. Um, well, dreams are that often that's where we work things out in a way. It's
Yeah.
good to dream.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes they're just dreams. We're working things out. And then sometimes they're dreams that come up, like I mentioned about that woman with the arm,
Yeah.
you know, um, that it stands out like something happened, or it's a way that we can express something that's happening in our lives in a way that isn't necessarily going to affect our lives, but
Mhm.
it's expressed like, hey, this bothered me. You
Mhm.
know, this bothers me. Some people don't, they'll say, I don't dream.
Yeah.
Or they'll say, I don't remember my dreams,
Mhm.
or I'll ask about recurring dreams, or even dreams you had as a child, you know. And I kind of go where the patient is. And then I might ask when they tell me, well, what did that feel like? What did that dream feel like for you?
Mhm. Mhm.
What was the experience of it? And you know, when that starts to stand out, then that to me, that's another important piece of the puzzle. I always
Yeah.
feel like we're putting together, the patient and I are putting together this puzzle,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah. Yeah.
symptoms
Yeah.
and everything
Yeah.
are and we don't have a finished
Agreed.
picture. You know,
Mhm.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I will ask, what does that dream to you? What does that mean? Or I
Mhm.
don't ask it that way. It's not my interpretation
Sure. Sure.
at all. It's what
Yeah.
it means for the person.
Yeah.
And again, in the repertory, homeopathic repertory, there is the section of dreams, and then all like dreams of snakes, dreams of crossing water, dreams
Wow.
of being robbers coming in, all sorts of things, and then remedies listed. And this is all of this information has been gathered from what I mentioned about provings of remedies.
Yeah.
So it can play a piece of it, especially if it's something that keeps coming up
Mhm.
or meant something to the person in a way. You know, often we wake up and oh, I dreamt, and then you forget it,
Yeah. Yeah. A
right?
lot.
That's
Mhm.
mostly, but a dream that stands out and you're living with it, maybe
Mhm.
it's telling us something. Maybe it's like a response
Mhm.
to what we have as a sensitivity. And that's what I'm, you know, we all have our own sensitivities. And in fact, it plays out in different parts of our body. Some people more digestion issues, sometimes headaches, menstrual, you know, each have
Mhm.
skin.
Mhm.
So with homeopathy, that sensitivity it helps to quiet down the sensitivity. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's how it's used. And I might want to say probably the same thing with fears too.
Mhm.
Like I will ask that too. What are you afraid of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what does it look like? I mean, I feel like we have a pretty good picture, but when it comes to you have someone who comes to you, what does it look like for someone to work with you? How long would someone work with you? I'm assuming it's all individually based, but what does that look like?
Well, the first appointment, I block off 2 hours, whether we use it or not.
Mm,
And and it's really starting to find out about the person. I write everything down. And then I come back with the suggestion of the remedy maybe a day or so later.
okay.
I do work virtually and in person. Um, I don't do a hands-on exam because I'm not an MD, but I will look at a skin eruption.
Yeah.
And then I often say to them, well, let me know in 2 weeks what you've noticed. And sometimes people will notice something and sometimes they won't.
Hmm.
You know, that's usual. Schedule a follow-up in about 3, 4 weeks to see how the person's responded to the remedy, you know, what has happened. And at that point, we kind of go back over everything. Maybe there are new symptoms or new response to things. So my at that point, it's sort of it's seeing, well, did the remedy help? What happened? Is the person better? Is the person worse? Did old symptoms come up? Do new symptoms come up? Do we repeat the remedy? Do we wait? Do we change to a new
Hmm.
remedy? And that
Hmm.
happens. And I do say that often a series of remedies are needed. Never a waste because it brings whatever we use brings us to know more about this
Yeah,
person.
sure.
So I often say give it like 6 months at least in a way. People don't always do that. I want to, and it's not that we're meeting every month.
Hmm.
I do have some people who sign up for a 6 month package. And to me, I like that because then we have that time.
Yeah.
I know people want, don't we all? We want that quick fix.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't.
Sure.
In an acute situation or first aid situation, acute would be like a flu or a stomach ache,
Hmm.
sore throat. We want to see something happen fairly quickly. not
Yeah.
like in 3 weeks. We want
Yeah.
fairly
Sure.
quickly. In a
Yeah.
couple of days, we might change
Mhm.
the remedy. In a chronic ongoing health issue, which can be a lot of different things, and person's been experiencing this for a while, it may take a while before we start to, we might not see something right away. And if we start, like years ago, I had this one woman who had extreme sensitivity to sound.
Mm.
She had it for a year before she came to see me, to the point that when we did this call, she had the sound turned off because it would hurt her ears, and she was
Wow.
wearing earplugs and earmuffs, and she couldn't do
Oh.
activities with her children. She was completely new to homeopathy.
Mhm.
So we met. I took the case. The first remedy didn't do anything. We met again. The second remedy didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The third remedy, um, she said to me about a week or two after, or she wrote in an email, when I washed my hands, it didn't hurt my ears.
Ah.
Absolutely huge, even though it was
Well,
such a
yeah.
small thing. Absolutely
Yeah.
huge. Well, we stayed with that remedy and we used it as needed. We might have changed the potency, went up slightly.
Mhm.
And she called me from the beach one time, and she was out and about, and she still, I haven't talked to her for a while, but she sometimes said, I am a little sensitive still when I use like a computer or something. But she said, I got my life back.
Ah.
But what was so good is that she invested in herself to,
Mhm.
like, we got there.
Yeah.
But that's what, and a good example of, like, it could be just something really small in the beginning, and then it continues to get better and better and better. And you almost, that's what you in a way want. I've had a patient once who, she took a remedy and she said, wow, I was great the next day. And then after that, I was awful. I thought, no, that wasn't a good, that remedy was not similar to you. We
Yeah.
don't want bang, this is wonderful.
Mhm.
We don't want that. We want this subtle kind of,
Mhm.
ideally growing. Yet, I might be confusing you now. With an acute, we want to see something really
Sure.
fairly quickly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that makes sense, right? Somebody comes to you with acute pain. That's when you want quick results.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that you can get those kind of results with homeopathy.
Well, it what it is, it's the vital force. It's
Mhm.
stimulating the vital force, and it's our ability to heal. I kind of, then Hahnemann talks about the vital force all the time. Yeah. Which we don't always think that way. We think very physical. Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
this gets back to that energy
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
fun. I'm curious about something I was going to ask you earlier. The mercurium, am I saying it right?
Curious. We're
Mercurium?
curious.
Curious.
Mhm.
What is that used for?
Well, it's also there's several curious remedies. Um, Well, it's used for a lot of things. See, that's where, okay.
Okay.
And so it may be helpful for a certain kind of sore throat.
Okay.
It may be helpful for skin issues. Again, it's not that I can say, but what it is it's the way, how do I want to word it? Because there are a lot of other remedies that be helpful for a sore throat. So I can't necessarily say, and that's not the way I kind of work.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so that's why.
But that's how my mind works. I'm like, but I
Well,
want to know what it does. So
But
it
but but see,
makes
but
sense.
that's exactly, I think, how
Yeah.
most people do.
Yeah.
Like, people will ask me, I have this, what would you give me? What
Uh-huh.
remedy would you use?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what this is like for you. I mean, granted, for like first aid, that's different.
Sure. Yeah.
But for like I had 5 children I saw over a couple of years ago who had warts. And
Mm.
they each, two of them needed the same homeopathic remedy, and the other three each needed a different homeopathic remedy. So it's not like, that's why it's so individual. I know I
Yeah.
sound like a broken record when I say
That's
that,
great.
but that to me is the most wonderful thing about homeopathy.
Uh-huh.
What
Uh-huh.
is this like for you, for this
Yeah.
person?
Yeah.
We're treating the person. First of all, we're treating the person.
Mhm.
We're not treating the disease
Mm-hmm.
disease. We're treating the person who has this disease.
Mm-hmm.
So who is this person? And finding out who this person is, taking the time to find out who this person is,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even how they heal, what their pace of their healing is like.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody's is different. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where it gets into about what potency to use.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and but your question I have all the time. I have because I think that's how we are,
Yeah.
and that's what we're
Yeah.
exposed to.
And how we're trained,
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
unintentionally trained. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about like some serious conditions. And I'm like, cancer. Do
Mhm.
you see cancer patients?
I have seen some
Mm-hmm.
cancer patients, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some have stayed and some have not.
Mm-hmm.
One, I have to say, he did pass away, but I had heard from his wife that homeopathy really helped him, helped his quality of life
Yeah.
in those last
Yeah.
years, which was good to know, which was
Sure.
good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've seen people who have like a kidney ailment, autoimmune diseases. Homeopathy is very helpful. Psoriasis, ongoing just coughs too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, homeopathy can help for so many health issues that people experience today. A woman recently who was just starting to go through perimenopause, who was just extremely anxious
Mm-hmm.
and has all of these thoughts that are just debilitating almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and homeopathy is helping her. So again, it's just I know I keep saying it, finding out about the person. Homeopathy is wonderful for any age. I want to say children especially. I have a really soft spot for children because it's a wonderful time to use homeopathy when they're young. And before, if they do have a health issue, even an emotional
Mm-hmm.
situation or behavioral or ADHD, it's before they're starting to get on one medication after another. And just fears even. I've worked with
Mm-hmm.
children who have just these tremendous fears
Mm-hmm.
that hamper them in
Mm-hmm.
how they interact with the world or
Yeah.
even their being able to become more independent in a
Mm-hmm.
way. And it's not that it's like the parent, the mom will say this, this is what how my child is. With children, I ask about the pregnancy, I ask about the birth. I'll
Mm-hmm.
ask an adult about that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I often say that during the pregnancy, the mom and the baby share the same state. So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
homeopathy is very safe to use during pregnancy and when a mother is nursing. So that it's very important to find out about, because some births can be or pregnancies are not as ideal as you want and could be traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
And so how was, what was the baby like? The baby might have a lot of colic, might be crying a lot, or even noticing some fears. You know, I will ask, well, what would happen, during the birth?
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's, you get back to finding out, what did you say, the root cause? In a
Mm-hmm.
way that it's sort
Mm-hmm.
of finding that out. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't, yeah, yeah. But I want to say that like fibromyalgia, I could just list things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with supplements, there are good quality and there are just really trash quality. Would you say there's the same situation with homeopathics?
Um, yes and no. They're made they're made in homeopathic pharmacies. There are two that I mainly use.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that I don't know, but boron, which which you see in like a health food store, which is
Mm-hmm.
out there more readily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say poorly about anything. I just use more from Hahnemann Labs in Northern California and Helios in England. And I want to just say too that I think I prefer to have the remedies in a glass vial
Sure.
than a plastic.
Yeah, of course.
Um, but no, I wouldn't say it that much. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also because there are 4,000 homeopathic remedies, like where do you get them? The one that you need. It's not like,
Mhm.
oh, we
Hmm.
need this one, but we don't have it, so we'll use this one. It's not that case.
Hmm.
Unless sometimes it's a first aid situation and the person's like, no, let's do what we can right now,
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
But if this is the remedy we need to use, this is the remedy we need to use.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a company, the name of it is escaping me right now. And I think I think it's a good company for what I know about, homeopathics. I don't know why I can't think of it. Anyway, my question behind this company is what I believe they have said or they're about is they make their homeopathics more for the practitioners who know less about homeopathy, right? And so I guess maybe each of their products are more broad reaching. They can, do you know what I'm talking about? You kind of know what I'm saying? So you don't have to dig as deep to see
Yeah,
decent results.
they could be combination. They could be like
Maybe.
several
Mhm.
remedies in one
Uh-huh.
um, and lower potencies.
Okay.
I don't work with combinations.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it is that the thinking, this is what I'm thinking, they're thinking is that maybe one of these remedies, like there's a diarrhea, let's say, a diarrhea
Hmm.
combination, and
Hmm.
there might be 5, 6 remedies listed. And the thought is that maybe one of these remedies is going to be helpful.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
I don't work that way. I work with
Okay.
just one at a time, but I might do
Okay.
concurrently. But with a combination, again, it does introduce people to homeopathy, which is good.
Hmm.
That it's you don't know what remedy helped, and then how are they working together,
Hmm.
and which can create something on its own in a way.
Okay.
And then I think people might think, hey, homeopathy didn't help me because I did this. I did something homeopathic and
Yeah.
it didn't help me. So
Hmm.
they don't go further and have, well, maybe that wasn't really addressing you and you need to see a homeopath. People will use the word homeopathy. It's not homeopathic to you if it doesn't help you.
Well, that
If it's not
makes
similar to
sense.
you,
Yeah.
it's not
Okay. Yeah.
homeopathic. And the
I love the
word
way you put that.
the word homeopathy and homeopathic is used on packaging. Well, it's not, okay, yes, it's a homeopathic remedy, but if it didn't help you, then it wasn't homeopathic to you. It wasn't similar to you.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot in my blogs too, my newsletter, is don't give up. If you see, like sometimes what's listed, you'll see a particular health issue, and these remedies are helpful, which is true, yet they might not help you. And I will say, don't give up. It doesn't mean that homeopathy can't help you.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it's just the way it's marketed too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 All right. All right. Give me a couple of your favorite stories.
Well, I already gave you one.
Okay. Yeah.
I gave you about the hearing.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's really a really I said briefly about the warts. Um, this is of a child, a boy, and his mom would leave early for work, like at 7, and get up like at 6 or 5, and he would be up with her, and he would be in tears. Don't leave, mommy. Don't leave. Don't leave. And he would be okay. I think he was stayed home with his siblings. But he even told me of dreams about being like something happened to him and nobody knew.
Hmm.
There were siblings upstairs and nobody knew that he was taken and put into a bag and taken away. And nobody knew, even though there were people in the house. I mean, he told me about this dream,
Hmm.
which is unusual that children do that. He
Hmm.
also had a really strong craving for sugar. I mean, more so for sugar, not just sweets, sugar. I mean, he would find the cookies that were hidden or up high in the cupboard. He would eat sugar. And he did very well on the homeopathic remedy that
Hmm.
kind of put all those pieces together. And what is this picture? To that his need for sugar became less. He was able to let his mother go to work in the
Hmm.
morning without being in tears. And he was feeling more that people were concerned about him. And this is my wording right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that what is that dream?
Hmm.
It's just like he was, I mean, I'm sounding like I'm analyzing it, but that he felt as though nobody knew what was happening to me, even
Hmm.
though they were in the house,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And for a child to be so to hear that dream is really, and to express it, I thought. So he did very, very well with that remedy. There's another case that I had years ago of this boy. Again, children are just, I think, just is a wonderful time to use homeopathy.
Hmm.
Um, had this cough that really bothered his mother,
Hmm.
and he would have it when he'd get into the car when she picked him up at school. And he came in with his mother and his sister for the appointment and gave him a remedy. Didn't really do much. He came back again. All three of them came back, and I had a chance to talk to him. And he said, I said, well, what bothers you? I always ask people, what bothers you?
Yeah,
And I ask children that too, because sometimes what bothers the child isn't what bothers the parent of the child.
yeah.
And he said, what bothers me, he didn't say it that way, is that my sister, who's younger than me, bosses me around. That bothered him that she was a boss and he felt
Hmm.
how that made him feel.
Yeah.
So I gave another remedy that addressed the cough and this feeling about being bossed.
Hmm.
They didn't come back for a follow-up, but I heard from uh, a family that had referred them that the cough was gone. And I really wanted to know, and I'm thinking that I bet he was feeling better in himself,
Uh-huh.
that how he handled or responded to when he felt like he was boss. And I don't know exactly how that
Mhm.
came to be, but I bet he did because that was a piece. That was a
Yeah.
piece. We're not these separate pieces where
Yeah.
they come together. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So fun. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't always know sometimes how people
Hmm.
are.
Hmm.
People will say, "Oh, I'm doing better. Why should I come back in?" You know. So I'm thinking that people are doing well. I'm kind of looking at what I wrote down. And then people have done well and they've come back for another health issue.
Yeah, sure.
And I've had one woman, this was years ago too, who I think she came in for a head injury. And we
Mm.
addressed that and also looking at her. And she was had had some menopausal symptoms like hot flashes. And she said, the hot flashes went away.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I don't always know. Again, it's like, I don't know. I can't say this is going to happen and this is going to happen.
Yeah.
I know what to look for in the sense, what is better, what is worse. Do
Hmm.
we repeat the remedy or we don't? But I don't know how somebody is going to heal. I
Yeah.
don't know if that makes sense, but
Well, I think it does. I mean, it's just like, we're individual in our, life experience, no matter what it is, whether it's healing or illness or, any of it. We're just different.
we're just, that's it. That's different. Like too, I know we're almost at the end of our time.
Mhm.
I had a gentleman who had psoriasis on his leg, on his shin, his left shin, for absolutely almost all his life. And I've had a couple of patients with psoriasis, and we did a couple of remedies, and the last one that we did, the psoriasis is gone, and it's been
Mhm.
gone for like 2 years.
So
So
cool.
where that remedy didn't help somebody else who had
Yeah.
psoriasis, so
Yeah.
that shows the individualness
Hmm.
again of it. So yeah, I just feel like there's such a need for it,
Hmm.
and but it's an investment in yourself,
Hmm.
and it's an investment that it is a process
Hmm.
and not always that
Yeah.
quick fix.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been, so trained for the quick fix when it comes to drugs, but the drugs aren't fixing, the drugs are covering up, right? And so, yeah, I think that it takes time, especially when it's taken so much time to get where you are.
Exactly.
There's unwinding to do.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say too. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Cool. Well, tell people how they can find you.
Oh, okay. I do have a website, www.homeopathy to heal. That's TO. I offer a complimentary get acquainted call. Love to talk to people about what I do and start to hear what's bothering them. And then they can decide whether to make an appointment or not. My email is pam@homeopathytoheal.com. As I said, I'm always happy to talk to people, not that it's important that people know they have options and choices. Like you're a choice, and to know that. And
Yep.
people don't always know that. They have a
Yep.
health issue and it's like, oh God, I just have to live with it. Well,
Right.
there are things that you can do other than Western medicine. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, this has been great. I'm so
Me too.
grateful for all of your knowledge on this stuff. There's so many things that I want to know more about. I need another set of brains. I need and a whole other calendar and time. But either way, I love what you're doing and how you're helping people, and it's such a beautiful practice. So just keep on keeping on, and
Well,
thank
I
you.
appreciate that. I keep saying I do. And I have really enjoyed talking with you, Nikki. You've asked very thoughtful and thinking questions. So thank you so much to have this time to talk with you.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Well, I am grateful for you. And then, of course, I'm grateful for everybody who is here hanging out with us and watching. I appreciate you so much. I love doing this because I love talking to people who I can learn from. And the whole goal of the show is to bring truth to healthcare, right? It's to bring, there's, like you said, it's helping people see their options because everything's different for everyone. And just to have the knowledge, because knowledge is power, and that's that's all I care about. It's just giving people good
Absolutely.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank
All
you.
right, everybody. So check out Pam's website. Give her a call if there's anything that you're struggling with or you have questions. Do that. And of course, I'm here for the same reason. Always feel free to reach out to me. The website, all the socials, tastelifenutrition.com. I will throw out quickly. I don't have any details on it yet, but I am working on putting together a monthly workshop. I call it it's not a workshop. It's not it's more I'm calling it more of a conversation. It's which is really what I want it to be. I want to bring people in and have good conversations around health and their health and what we can do to move that forward. So that's going to be it's going to start July 1st. It's going to be the first Wednesday of every month. I will once I have all the details and links and all that stuff, then we'll have that posted. But um, that's what I'm working on. So I'm super excited about it.
That's good. Good, good.
Very cool. All right. Thank you, Pam. We'll see you again. I hope we'll have you on again.
Love
And
it.
thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next week, Thursday, streaming live on kuhsdenver.com. We'll see y'all later. Thank you
Thank
again.
you, Nikki.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.